Welcome everyone to Hobby Hammer issue 27. I'm joined as ever by Max from Barefoot Miniatures.
All right, kid, how's it going?
Oh God, okay, Oasis fever is sweeping through. In today's issue, we'll be talking about the main talking point will be if you're going to buy into a hobby in 2024, be it football, golf, Oasis, or Warhammer, how much money would you need to put aside? What budget would you allocate towards it? And we'll also be looking over the Nova debacle.
Yep,
Max, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Especially because I didn't stay up for the Nova Open previews. Let's do
I
this first.
forgot it
Let's
was
do
on.
this first
Let's
because
dive into it. Yeah, let's dive into because
yeah,
I completely forgot it was on. And I woke up in the morning and I scrolled a little bit, and it took quite a while for me to see new releases, which is a very rare occurrence. When they do put up a new roadmap or put up new miniatures, it's normally bang the first thing on my feed. But it took a while for Nova to like filter through to me.
yeah, yeah. Well, did you just use the term roadmap? Because I know they used it, but I'm not sure I would use it.
Should we talk about what was revealed there? So we got some new
Let's
Age
go
of
to that.
Sigmar,
Yeah. Sigmar's the
Sigmarines.
good one though. Sigmar's the good one. So
Yeah, really great miniatures. You're starting to see this conversation circulate online how Games Workshop are trying to almost like neuter their IP to make it more mainstream, to appeal to a wider audience base, especially in light of their new animation coming up with Henry Cavill and Amazon. I have seen no sources for this whatsoever. It's just like this generalized conversation that's in the air.
what do you mean new to the IP?
So they're trying to get away from like all the Nazi-esque imagery, the skulls, the lightning bolts, the eagles. I mean, there's a few famous illustrations in Rogue Trader that mirror Nazi rallies. I think
Oh,
they're trying to get
really?
away from that. Yeah, and they're trying to present the Space Marines and the Imperium as more of the good guys, people you can empathize with uh, in
I
this
think they've been doing
universe.
that for a while, though, haven't they? Like he's
Possibly.
yeah,
I think
yeah, I
there's
think so.
always had that undercurrent that that there's nobody good in this universe. There's always been that wry kind of sideways look that this is an authoritarian government and intergalactic empire, and there's always been at the essence that kernel of truth to it, that this is the possibly worst of all eventual outcomes.
Yeah, 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 I think so. But I do think they've been shifting slightly towards, especially with the tone of 40k and Sigma, into more like noble bright, for lack of a better word, rather than grimdark.
Yeah,
And it,
yeah. I mean, the Stormcast are a perfect example of that, right? They don't have that, I guess, Nazi hangover or um,
I don't, I don't know. I don't know whether I agree too much. There's definitely a horrible sense, but I'm not sure it was overwhelmingly Nazi.
no,
Um, but
no. I mean, you got commissars in there. You got a bit of a good
Russian as
old
well. Yeah,
Russian
we've got
communism as well, bullet to the back of the
yeah.
head kind of
It's
deal as well.
communism and fascism combined into middle of the road horrendousness.
Aquila,
But
yes,
yeah, so the Stormcast though,
yeah, very good.
immense and also very good for the old world. Not in the riders, but say like the griffins
Oh,
that they've got look
yes,
absolutely excellent.
uh-huh.
Do you know what faction has griffins, Miles? On demigriffs?
Empire of Man,
Empire of
perchance.
Man, which happens to be coming out in January, according to the roadmap, not roadmap. And
Yes,
or at least
Hales
early. No, do
afterwards.
you know what? It doesn't say January. I have just guessed January.
Yeah,
And no
I
one
mean, it seems
conjecture
like
off that
that's
because I have no idea. But
yeah, that seems to be like the next logical release step, right?
do you know what
Either
would
that
be?
or just before Christmas, maybe.
Do you know what would be the next logical release step? Next month, because they did Warriors of Chaos a month after Dwarves. I I would have thought that they'd be getting more out. As soon as they've done this Warriors of Chaos,
Mm.
I was like, oh, it's gonna be at an accelerated schedule,
Mm.
and it's to wait till January to get Empire. It's good because it
Yeah,
gives
that's
me a
true.
chance to paint up an entire Empire army by January. But it's bad because I kind of want to see Empire straight away.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, right? Warriors of Chaos has just been released. That's my faction, so I'll be buying stuff for that. With Empire card, I'm not going to be buying Empire miniatures, so it makes no financial impact on me. Whereas people who are waiting for Empire need that stuff. So an accelerated cycle, I think, would make sense from my back chair CEOing of Games Workshop. Just get things out nice, thick, and fast, get everyone playing, and then building the world.
Yeah.
But after that, what I'm really excited about is High Elves. And I'm really, really hoping, like, I know they dropped a little bit of Merworming, so I think we'll see a re-release of the old Forgewell kit for that, which does lead me to think, okay, perhaps they're going with, like, Lothran Seaguard, maybe as one of the army archetypes that you can frame your army across. But I am so desperately hoping they have a Caledonian army in there of some stripe, of some description.
Yeah.
That's the dream.
You just want those specific rules, don't you, as well? Because you
just want a dragon.
Yeah, well, you've got dragon. You've got 3 types of dragons in the Isle. Anyway, right.
Yes, Stormcast. I think they're excellent for custodians as well. Because custodians, they're described as one-off pieces of artwork, and yet they have like this press-stamped armor across the entire range. It'd be great if people made custodians using the new Stormcast releases as well.
Yeah.
Hell, they've even got female releases. So if you're that way inclined, you can wind up a proportion of the community, or you can just simply ignore them and have all male custodians. Up to you. The choice is yours.
Yeah, they have got some nice, like, sort of faith models in there as well. The Reclusians in the background have some quite nice, like, sort of Inquisitor-esque warband faith people. It's quite nice. Yeah, and the Demigryphs, man. Like, it allows Empire armies to get started whenever these come out. Because I'm assuming they're going to be this year.
Yeah.
But
well, hopefully sooner the better.
Yeah, and it's at the moment Demigryphs are just about the only thing worth taking in an Empire army. So, well, other than the guy that won the TSM tournament with an Empire army. Anyway, Heresy.
Okay, the roadmap. We have clarity on what is coming up over the next year, what we can expect, what we need as a community. Because I think it was Tim from the Eye of Horus, he wrote up something after the event that the Heresy community does tend to be slightly older, slightly bigger budget, very on theme for this episode. And we like knowing what's coming down the road so we can save up for it. We can plan ahead for a project. So it's great having this crystal clear knowledge of what's coming up next.
Yeah, it is, or would be. And this is something that the community in general has complained about a lot. It's nice that they're paying lip service to it, because they're certainly not doing anything else. So my favourite bit, in fact, of it was alongside a host of other new miniatures, and other factions lurk waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Thank you for clearly mapping that out for me. You are doing things and stuff.
Yeah.
It's absolutely craziness. And I was just saying to you, Miles, wasn't I, before the cast, I've been trying very hard, not just since the channel came out like 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
I've been trying very hard to be strongly neutral on my position about Games Workshop.
You're passionate about your neutrality.
Yeah, because it's very easy to swing one way or the other. So I've been trying very hard to give an actual... When I think something's shit, I think something's shit.
Yeah.
And when something's good, I think it's good. And this is definitely in the dumps for me, these particular roadmaps.
I think on the whole as well, I'm more upbeat about Games Workshop because this is a hobby I've enjoyed since I was a child. It's something I'm enthusiastic about. I mean, God, we're doing this, whatever this is, every Friday because we like talking over the talking points of these kind of events. But it's okay to criticize as well. It doesn't... It's okay to point something out when something's misfunctioning, like the Mechanicum book. I've seen that the preview they put up of like the Mars. It's just a picture of Mars. There's no like iron ring around it. Like, oh, and it makes your head hurt. With this, yeah, like you say, the roadmap. Like, oh, we got some stuff coming up. Tanks. We got tanks coming up, maybe, and stuff. Oh, be excited. And it feels exactly. like oh, get hype. You know, though the heresy train has no brakes. You have all these euphemisms, and like I can't keep that level of engagement and hype if the product simply isn't there. The heresy has been limping along with its releases. The last book has been lackluster. The miniatures have been largely uninspired. I think Fulgrim was the last huge release that we got from this universe. But it's okay to be down on this because it's simply reflective of how you feel of where it's going.
Yeah, by new release, sorry, huge release, you mean like huge new release, don't you?
Huge release of note and quality.
Well, I think we've had Solar since then and Mechanicum. It's just they're not new designs.
I guess like yes. They're very good redesigns of excellent base materials. Like I'm really happy the Mechanicum's in plastic, and I'm really happy they've just translated the kits. You didn't need to do anything to those sculpts. Those sculpts, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it's hard to get enthusiastic about something you've seen for the past 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. That's the bit that was going in on that. And it's So I am being unhappy with the road.
And it feels lackluster as well. It feels really lackluster. This just roadmap that they stuck up. I mean, I hate referring way back in the day when it was better back when I was a kid. When we did see roadmaps, when we did see previews on the weekenders, we saw snapshots of what the sculptors were working on, and we got the privilege of them talking over some of the inspirations, what they were trying to do. We got like really nitty gritty. We got some really good information that really fired up the community for like the next 6-7 months. But the funniest reaction, I guess the bit that's engaged me most about this preview has been the like reaction en masse, like the memes that have come out of this. They've been quite entertaining.
Yeah, at least maybe we probably don't need to go too far into it because we've already like this reaction. I think has been done, as you said. It's got some excellent memes, and I've not come up with any excellent memes. Have you come up with any excellent memes?
No, I've seen some good ones like, oh, we've opened the store, we've eaten too much pizza, now we're going to sell more miniatures, that kind of thing. Like, oh, I started the project, I've abandoned it halfway, I'm going to buy a new project. That kind of
cycle.
Disappointing, really bitterly disappointing. But you shrug your shoulders and say, oh well, at least we got Necromunda.
Yeah, which is actually you've just done actually a really cool video on it, which is I don't mind slamming you actually, so I don't mind giving you a load of shit. So it actually was a really good video. I skimmed it as I was walking home yesterday, and I was actually it's time pressure. It's been well received as well.
Yeah. So when I posted it all up, I had a few comments right off the back. Oh God, so the video set up around like a 48-hour challenge. Oh, why didn't you stay up all night and paint it? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And I was like, oh, I don't have to deal with this because like I've put a lot of effort into this and I'm very fragile over this video. It'll hurt my ego. Like any kind of criticism, no matter how valid or how well put it is, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna really hurt when I read that nasty
everyone
comment.
Needs to now go on that video and negatively comment.
Never show weakness to the internet. But thankfully, like all the comments are really nice, really encouraging. So thank you very much for the wonderful encouragement. It took way longer than I thought it would to edit it together. I can see why editors are in such high demand. I'm hoping to produce a video like that at least once a month going forward, or something more of in the entertainment realm rather than the information realm. Yes. How about you? What video have you released recently?
Well, I'm waiting to release 2 videos. One for the Wolves of the Sea for the new Arcane Journal. When is this video coming out? This is coming out Saturday, right?
I've moved it to around Monday, Tuesday.
The Wolves of the Sea is already out. as
The
well as
Wolves
the
of the Sea are already out.
Mechanicum Civil War battle reports.
Yeah.
So they're out. I've done a
So your
Warriors.
Necromunda videos are excellent, by the way,
Yeah.
because I mean I mentioned this in the last video that I have a hard time reading the rules and then translating them in game. So I need somebody like you to explain it to me like a mother reading a bedtime story to a child. I need that.
And
So
then,
your videos are
Miles,
great for that.
the Vansar Juve was headshotted with a plasma cannon at short range.
Oh my god. Yeah. ASMR.
Drifting off. Yeah, so yeah, I've done them. I'd actually done a siege video, Warriors of Chaos versus Dwarfs, that we got the old castle.
And you 3D print. Yeah, you 3D printed out some guys with.
Let me get them. Give me a sec.
Yeah. Go get them. Yeah.
So I got.
They are fucking mint.
And I'm actually happy with how these turned out, because I'm going to be doing not tons and tons, but a bunch of siege content on the channel.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been printing out Reconquer Designs' like siege dudes, which are putting up ladders against walls and climbing up ladders, and the battery man. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I've been doing them, and they just add a bit of character, I think, to the, because they fit quite nicely with the Bretonians that I'm doing. I think they fit with most people's Bretonians or Border Prince's forces, and they just add that dynamic element rather than just throwing a ladder on top of things. So yeah, we've been playing Siege, just porting the 6th rules over to the old world, and that is out on Patreon at the moment. And we're about to start a Necromunda campaign, like the full campaign.
In the Underhells.
So I've been painting up. Oh, here we go. This is a good example of it. I've been doing. Do you know when you get the Ash Wastes terrain, Miles? And it's off the side of a stack.
Oh wow, that's clever.
Got like
you
10
stuck
pieces.
Into a mountain.
Yeah. So I've been like
that's really clever.
The pieces of terrain for it. So that's Sunday, and I've got 6 vehicles to paint, 2 cargo 8 ridge hauler trailers, and 12 pieces of those terrains, so that we can have do a rolling road scenario. That's what I've actually been doing.
Right, I'm gonna piss you off here because I'm going to change camera.
Yeah.
I'm going ultramarine crazy.
Okay.
So this is a commission piece that was sent to me. Yep. This is a custom 3D printed miniature, custom sculpt that I'm painting for a client. But not only this, he's also sent me Chaka.
Nice.
Boom. This big bad boy.
This
is done by a sculptor called David Arenas. It's sculpted by Dave.
Yeah, and that's searchable on the internet, is it? Or is that a custom piece?
This is a custom piece, yes. STL is not available for sale anywhere. This is not, I'm not going to give out the STLs. So please don't ask. Yes, this is custom Titus. I really hope it's not out there on general, because I was told there's only one. I was explicitly told, do not put this anywhere else online. Don't give it out. Don't sell it. It's only for you.
It looks nice though. He's got the right, like, an actual scale to it, rather than. I know we play a lot in heroic scale, but I also like seeing Space Marines and things like that in a more realistic scale. Do you know, like, where his helmet actually makes sense with the size of the armor, with how big his head is?
Yes, and I think it works on this larger scale because you don't have to like shrink it down into heroic proportions. You could just have it as actual scale. Yes, gorgeous piece. So that's what I'll be working on over the next month or so, alongside other projects I can't reveal. Or can I? I'm not sure. But yes, there is a project, very Pith Helmet inspired, I'm working on for a company that's going to Kickstarter next month.
Ah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Colour me intrigued.
Yeah, but I hate it when people do that. Perhaps we'll cut it out of the show, like, oh, I'm working on something, but none of you can know what it is.
Just know that it's not being cut out because I'm the one that edits this. Everyone,
Yeah,
just know
it's going in. Yeah, I mean, I think it's been said already, but it's Anvil Industries. They're doing the Kickstarter next month. I'm not 100% sure to show the painted pictures of them yet,
Right,
but
okay.
yes, soon, coming soon next month. But I get the feeling like not many people are going to be doing much painting next month, as of like the 9th, because Space Marine 2 is being released then.
You know
Yeah.
what? I got excited about it at the start,
Mm.
and and then it's waned off as jobs have piled up, such as like painting the Empire Army, doing the next Monday
I've started to see videos circulating around how you can do like custom chapter and like, oh god, I can have harbingers of no, what they call the size of the Emperor. Like, oh god, you got size of the Emperor, you got Blood Angels, you can have Sons of Orpheus. Like, oh, you can do custom designs. Chaos Space Marines are in there. Like, I just want to play Black Legion. That's all I want to do in that game. Is just play Black Legionnaire running around, trashing the place. That's my idea of heaven.
Oh, maybe. Do you fancy, instead of doing a Hobby Hammer stream, we live play co-op?
Could do.
We could do that.
Could do.
Yeah.
We will talk that in the discussion. But yes, so that is what we've been up to. That is the hobby in the week that was. Let's talk about how you get into the Warhammer hobby in 2024.
Right. So what we have decided to do in this segment is essentially, how can you get into the hobby and start playing I'm going to say a budget, but Miles hates that word because it makes it sound cheap.
Yeah, it makes it sound like you're trying to cheap on these things. I guess the genesis of this conversation came about through a student who's just come on board. He sold off all his stuff before COVID, and he wants to get back into the hobby. And he has to buy everything completely from new. And he asked me, Miles, what do I buy? Oh, God, that's quite a lot of responsibility, because you have to consider paints, brushes, airbrushes, lights, wet palettes. So we decided to frame this conversation around, okay, if you have a budget of around £500, which is roughly the equivalent of a Sky streaming pass to watch football, or a set of golf clubs, or a set of Oasis tickets with the gear that goes alongside, the haircut, the carling.
Oh, that's what you mean by gear. I thought you meant a different form of gear that is very
the gear. Yeah, no, not at all. No. The gear that goes alongside that can get a little bit expensive. We thought, okay, how do we? Well, you have around £500-ish to spend. What would you buy if you cleared the decks, cleared all the paints out of your pantry, all the brushes, all those odd colours you've collected over the years? What would you buy anew?
Yeah.
So we've set ourselves a very simple budget of around £500, and I guess the first place to start, or the juiciest place to start, paints.
Are we starting with paints?
Paints, I think, is good, because airbrushes could be a little bit more specialized in nature, and I get the feeling, just having a rough look at the budgets, that might be something we have to cut out later on. But let's play with some of these ideas. Ooh. So, paints. What are your favorite paints? If you had to buy a set of paints, a paint set out there, what would you buy, Max?
Oh, do you know what? You're gonna hate me for this. I like Pro Acryl at the moment.
Right. Okay. Good place to start.
Yes. Let's see who's got them, because we're going to do this live, unless it takes too long to get somewhere.
No.
In which case,
so I'm on the Monuments hobby. Now, this is an American site. I'm sure Max would be able to do a bit of Google food to find in UK actual British sterling. So you could buy the full set of 69. I see what you're doing there. Pro Acryl mega set for $250, which is roughly around £200-ish.
Oh, I think we're gonna have to start cheaper than that.
Oh, yeah.
Because 250
but this is for
quid,
everything.
Is if we're getting everything in here, we need clippers, we need glues, we need.
But this is the bulk. Where you do want to plow a little bit of money, I would suggest, into your paints, because this set is going to be the foundation. It will give you lots of different options, and with the Pro Acryl set, it has this dual usage of being able to use through a wet palette and through the airbrush.
Yeah. I agree with that. But do we not think? Right. Let's put that in. And
Yes.
what I would say is maybe if we are getting tight on money, we might need to reduce it to the specific paints for the set.
Okay.
That we're going to
Sounds good to me.
So the Pro Acryl.
So, Max, why Pro Acryl?
It's because of that dual usage, and I think it's a good starting point. I found it very easy to learn blending with it, very easy to learn glazing with it, and just quite a simple paint range to use with an expected result. That's why I quite like it.
Great. Yeah, and the dropper bottles are great as well. I mean, I have like a Pro Acryl white here. It hasn't seized up the top. Phenomenal to use through the airbrush. Very strong, potent colors. Great range of saturated colors. And that's something I advise you look for initially. You don't necessarily want maybe like a Vallejo, sort of like the normal model color range, because these are designed for military scale modeling. So a lot of the colors are desaturated in nature. Whereas if you get big, bold, saturated colors, you can always neuter them with a little bit of black, white, gray, or the complementary tone. So you can mix them up. By having saturated colors, you can do much more with them. Now, I'm not the, I do like Pro Acryl, but I think there are better options out there. I don't like the feel of the paint when I'm using it. It feels too thin. I like slightly thicker bodied paints where I'm able to do layering a little bit more aggressively with them. So in terms of paints that I enjoy using, scale 75. I mean, it's odd that I say I enjoy thicker paints with better coverage, and then I go straight to scale 75, the exact opposite end of the range. But so I've got the scale 75 Fantasy and Games collection. This is $109 on the website. Sorry, 109 euros on the website. So it'll be around the £80-ish mark.
Is that the exchange rate at the moment?
I'm guessing.
Right, so he's 100 and what? Sorry, 100 and.
It's $109. Oh,
right,
sorry.
91.
Sorry, VAT applied is 132.
Ooh.
So we're guessing like £100? No,
110.
more than that, 110-ish. 110, yeah. £110. Okay. With this, you get, how many paints do you get in here? Doesn't say. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 8.
As if you have to count them like this and it's a product that they're trying to sell.
Yeah, I know. You get a bunch of paints in this collection, and unlike the scale color normal range, these are big, bright, saturated colors that you can neuter easily. I like using the scale 75 paints because they matte finish and they the blend. So the initial placement of them is a little bit difficult because they don't have much in the. They do have coverage, it's just not as much coverage as you may expect from like a Games Workshop paint. But the more times you overlay them, the more layers you put on top, you get some really nice blends with them. And significantly for this challenge, they are a lot cheaper than the Pro Acryl equivalent.
Right. So he got that dual usage as well, because I think that was, if we're starting out and recommending people getting in, both of what we've just recommended work for both airbrush and brush.
So these things dilute very well to be run through the airbrush. They do offer the same challenge when running through the airbrush as they do with the palette. My style, I like building up in thin, gradual layers because if you aren't using the best equipment, if you aren't using the best airbrush, you are going to get quite a lot of spitting through your airbrush. Well, it's not going to be the atomization. It won't be as fine as it would be with a more higher budget. So what I like to do is thin the paint right down and build up in several successive layers. And between the glaze medium, the acrylic thinner that you put into your mixture, those little dots will diffuse on the surface, giving you a smoother looking blend. But the Pro Acryl and the Scale 75 sets will allow you to do this.
Right. So we've mentioned airbrushes there. Shall we go into
one
airbrushes?
More choice.
Go on.
One more choice I want to throw out there, because those two selections, I think they have pros, they have cons. Now, what's sort of like the intermediary Venn diagram between these two? It would be the Vallejo game color. Unfortunately, you cannot buy a full set of them as we currently speak. And this is the major drawback with this. So Vallejo have a fine history, good distribution, amazing color set. You can buy them nearly anywhere. And the best ability is availability sometimes. Scale 75 might be difficult for people to find in North America. Pro Acryl, I think, is pretty much everywhere. So that is a big plus for that. But Vallejo seems to be that perfect in-between spot between price, availability, and usability. Now, there is a set that I found that's going up on pre-order, but that comes in at a mighty $432, which will be around like 380 odd pound. For this set of paints. Every single paint you could possibly think of in this set will probably last you a lifetime, but it is so expensive to buy. And one honorable mention, but one very frustrating mention I want to give out, is the Atom range by MIG. So these paints have been designed for dual. I promise this is the last one. These paints have been designed for dual usage between the airbrush and the brush. They're big, thick, consistent, great bottles, great price. The problem is you can't just buy in them and buy like one big set. You can't go in and go, boom, click, I got all the colors. No, they sell them in separate random sets. The paints are great, but so freaking frustrating why I can't just buy the entirety of this of like a model color range. And
that might not be too much of a downside, because I think what we might end up landing on is the specific paints for the models, and you slow grow your paints. So it's the ammo paints, the Atom paints that you were recommending.
They do have Atom Basic War Games color set 1 and 2. And then you can add to it, so you got things like the Atom Luftwaffe World War II color set.
Perfect.
Ace.
Have they not got the German Field Grey set of 1943, as the old joke goes?
Yeah.
How much is that? How much is the base range?
So the base ranges are £28 each. So if you bought both of them, you get them. Oh, and they do a metallic set, but I haven't used them, so I can't speak to the usability. You could buy both of these for around 60 quid.
Right. So we've got basically 4 options there, because I've written in the Pro Acryl base range as well as the Mega Paint range, just to give us a bit of a lower price option. So we've got the Mega Paint range for 200 quid, Scale 75 range for 110, the MIG 2 sets, which is a lot fewer paints, for 56. Whether that works out paint for paint is probably similar, but we've got a few options there to get into painting. And
yes,
all but the game color that you were saying, I think are dual use.
Game color is dual use as well.
Oh, is game color dual use? Right.
It's dual. Yeah. So I'm not a big fan of airbrush paints, because matching them off against like regular paints, and you're buying 2 sets of paints, that you could just learn how to thin acrylic paint. It's not that hard, and we will be talking about this with acrylic thinners that you could buy from your local hobby store, and this does come in within the budget as well.
Yeah. Right. So we've got a bunch of paints that we'll have to narrow down later.
Yes.
Now,
do you want to talk about metallics?
No, I want to talk about what the hell we're painting.
You want to talk about what you're painting? Okay.
Yeah, because I think that's do we need metallics? Are we going to paint a non-metallic metal? Is that what's got us back into painting and back into the hobby? Like,
you could jump onto Darkstar Mini. You could get Darkstar Intro Bundle for 20 quid, and that includes shipping. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get 6 paints. Boom, done and dusted.
Right, so go on. Darkstar.
Darkstar Molten Metals. You can get a bundle for 20 quid.
Okay, I've written it in. We're definitely not going to have all of that in the budget, though. As in, not for the Darkstar specifically. I mean, we've now got 6 paint sets.
Now, I would argue against having an airbrush in your initial setup.
Really?
Because it eats so much of your budget. The basic starter bundle of a compress. So we're on airbrushes.com at the moment, where I buy all my airbrushes, and I do try and stick around Iwata as much as possible, but we simply can't buy an Iwata for the price. So this basic starter set, it is a Sparmac mini kit. Oh, they got the Christmas edition with a lovely red, and it comes with 2 paints, cleaning kit, cleaning pot. It has the airbrush itself. This comes in at £225. So that's nearly half our budget gone.
Right, so Miles has sent me the Christmas edition mini kit. Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure how long this is going to last for, but I mean, other ones on here are comparable prices. Just with this bundle, you get a couple of paints with it as well. So even at like the base budget for a compressor, an airbrush, cleaning kit, and like a little thing to go alongside it to spray your airbrush into, it's £225.
Yeah, so which
is nearly half your budget.
Yeah, which between the paint set and the airbrush, we are just done.
And we have no brushes, we have no mediums, we have no wet palette, we have no lighting. So I think for the sake of our initial budget, if you're getting into this, sacrifices must be made. And unfortunately, the airbrush is one of them.
Well, I think it's something that you can do without. I am going to write it into the list.
Yes.
The Sparmax kit.
I think what it would be worth at the end of this episode, talking about if you were to... You've had this initial buying, a couple of months. I really want to start airbrushing.
No, that's another episode. Fuck it.
That's another episode.
Be more cutthroat. We've got to be more tight with this.
500-ish only.
Yeah.
Yes. So unfortunately, right now, the airbrush has to go, unless we did go with the ammo color sets.
Ammo or the cheaper Pro Acryl. But even we've got the Pro Acryl base set for £89. I think we get rid of the mega paint range that's £200.
Okay.
Because it's just that is not happening, is it? In the £500 budget, we've got to beat football.
No.
The game color range, there was one for 191, but again, it's £200.
Yeah.
It's going. We're left with Pro Acryl base set 89, scale 75, 110. MIG atom range, 2 of them for £56. And the molten metals for 20. Now the Pro Acryl base set is actually what I use. And
I think for the range of colors you get, because the MIG ammo range, you get maybe 20 colors. How many colors do you get in the Pro Acryl?
Oh, do you know what? You just counted it before. I'm going to have to count them on my shelf. 4, 8, 12. It's like fucking 28, 30 paints.
Okay, great.
Do you know something around
more variety?
There? Yeah.
More variety of paints, yeah. I think in terms of like usability, use of paints, the Pro Acryl is probably the best in this very limited budget.
Yeah, they've got one metal paint in there. So I think we could potentially even just be like Dark Star and a Pro Acryl. And then that's £110.
Yeah, there we go.
Right. And we wanted to sort of do this live so that it might be extending it a little bit, but we wanted to do it live.
It's fun working this stuff out.
Yeah, and so that people could see the disagreement between me and Miles and what the hell we're doing. Right.
But then again, so if I enlarged the budget, I wouldn't go with Pro Acryl. I'd go with a different paint set. Well,
that's fair. Well, which one would you go with?
I wish this Vallejo set was out. So you can just like 1 point. So if we were to increase this to like 1,000, just boom. Get just 1 point of purchase, get all the colors you could possibly need. But unfortunately, that's $432. That must come down soon.
Right, so I've just written it in enlarged budget.
Yeah.
Vallejo game color set. Okay.
Yeah, that must be coming down. But yes, that's what I'd go for. Just boom, and then right. Okay, so models. You want to introduce models into this? Now, this is a big point of contention between me and Max, because I only wanted to focus on everything else except the miniatures. But no, Max is sticking in his horn and saying, no, we've got to have miniatures in there as well.
I want someone to have something to paint. You're focused on the paints.
Okay.
I'm focused on the
Games
ability
Workshop
to paint.
give away a free miniature every month, is it? Or every week?
I've not been into Games Workshop in years, man.
Go into a Games Workshop store and get one for free.
is it worth the petrol/tram ticket to go and get it? That one.
You're there already buying this other material. Buying
No,
these
I'm
other
not. We've just
material.
recommended Pro Acryl and MIG
I mean,
and Darkstar.
are we really accounting for like shipping in this as well, and petrol usage?
I'm just saying it's probably not worth someone's time going all the way to get a free Mini.
Or if you're there already, getting a Greg's.
If you're going getting a sausage and cheese melt, bean and cheese melt, it's maybe worth it. Just pop in.
Has to be steak bait. Okay,
Steak
but if you're not buying something from Greg's and you have a bit, so what would you recommend for somebody to buy initially, just to have a couple of minutes just to paint and maybe start playing the game?
To get into it, Necromunda, I would say, straight off.
Yeah.
Just because it immediately gets people into the game. I'm looking at like the Vansar Tech Hunters on the War Office, 25 quid or 26 quid for the Tech Hunters, and that's 8 of them. That's a full gang. Like 86 quid for the Hive Secundus set. Like,
you're not buying the full Secundus set.
No, but I'm just that's like stretch, isn't it? That's another like the paint set stretch. But 25 quid getting you a full gang and the ability to play a game system with your mates.
So I would say go for something like Underworlds.
Underworlds. Right, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Underworlds.
How much are those sets?
Do you know what? I don't know. It's not something that I fully looked at. Is Underworlds? Is the models pop up? Are they like 2260 for the Grave Breakers?
Okay, so it's not too similar from.
No, but I think both are comparable points. So if I put in 25 quid, Necro or Underworlds, we've got, like options covered, both fantasy.
Yeah, 20. I've seen a bunch for like 26.
Oh well, get yourself down to the War Office for 2260.
Or Blood Bowl.
Oh, Blood Bowl's a good one. Blood Bowl is a good one.
33 quid. Great sculpts, very easy to put together, and possibly one of the best communities out there.
How much did you see there?
So I can see the Underworld Denizens, Blood. It's the new Skaven Underworld set, £33.
Oh, right. I thought you meant Blood Bowl. But yeah, that's again 25 quid approximately. Like,
yes,
yeah, the gnome team 25 quid.
Yeah.
And all of these, like, low model count, easy to get in. I think you can spend a bit more time learning painting or even modeling techniques because of the lower entry. Like, I'm going to say time cost as well. Because when you getting back in, you're like, I want to start gaming, painting, anything, getting your first project completed in a small amount of time so that you you get that endorphin hit of like, I've successfully done something.
Absolutely.
And getting value for this. We're saying 500 quid, although it's reasonable for a hobby, I think. An amount of money that's reasonable for a hobby. It's still an amount of money that you've got to justify to yourself. And I think
you've got to get then and get involved in the community, show them off, whether you want to be like a painter guy or a gamer guy, or a gamer person. You could go out there and just get straight into it.
Yeah, and I think these are perfect for that.
Yeah.
Now,
so low model count games, Necromunda, Underworlds, Blood Bowl, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Right. Glues and things like that.
Glue, yes. I always use Loctite. So
is that just?
It's always reliable for me. I know Gorilla Glue had their moments in the sun. I don't like using Gorilla Glue. I'm very brand loyal to Loctite, so I always just pick it up. Fiverr, glue, boom, done.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm sort of flicking on. I'm flicking on the War Office now. I use whatever glue comes to hand. I'm gonna say like
Yeah.
it really doesn't matter. Let's get just. Do you know what? I mostly use super glue as well, whether the model's plastic or metal
Same.
or anything,
Yeah.
because I just can't be asked with plastic glue.
I did buy this the other day though from W. Davies Ironmonger Limited, and this is industrial grade super glue.
Oh, that's one of the ones that I use. Yeah,
$3.95.
Going into a builders merchants, just anywhere. Like it's a lot of where I get my stuff from. Well, that was something broke. Yeah. Again, and it usually comes with activator as well. I know Miles doesn't like activator, but
okay, if you want to save some money, so activator is simply water and baking soda. That's all that is.
Yeah, but it doesn't come in a nice aerosolized bottle.
You could buy an aerosolized bottle on Amazon for a couple of quid.
Do you know what? I imagine, Miles, can you just hold up what is on your left that shakes things violently, please? Because last time you said you really didn't like something. I'm talking about one of these. I'm talking about one of these. Ah, gutted.
Joe's taking it away. Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm putting a vortex shaker on the list.
That can't go in the
£10
budget.
vortex shaker.
No. That's £10 wasted. Just initially, just shake up. No way. You've already had miniatures. You're not going to go on page.
We can't not put miniatures on how to get into the miniatures hobby list.
Oh.
Vortex shakers on there.
No vortex shaker. No. That's £10 wasted.
No. Right.
Okay.
So we've done glues. I'm just going to put in £10 for glues, and you'll probably get £2. Two lots of glues in there.
There we go. Yeah, tenner for glue. Yeah.
Yeah, and even £1.50 in there of PVA.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Light. Now this is where you're going to be spending a little bit of money. Unfortunately, there's no way around this. You are going to have to spring if you want decent lighting. The best ones you could get from Daylight Company, which the ones we'd be looking for hobby lamps, about £250. So we can't go for that. So $250 they are, so like £200. The best light you could buy in the market is this from Redgrass Games, but this is £239. Again, blows over our budget. We just simply can't get in there.
Do you know what I would go with?
Oh, yeah,
I think
go
as
ahead.
an alternate. Fuck off the gaming lights. Get yourself something like this, which is a flat light, an LED light mat. And basically they come in, they're for photography, and they come in at about, you can get them for £40. And because it's not gaming branded, they kick out loads of light and are much cheaper. Like it's what I use all the time for filming
with
and
something like that. The problem is, how do you mount it?
So I've got £30 worth of a wall mount, and
so that's 30 wall mount, 40 for the light.
Yeah, so £70.
Whereas you could go in, it's not ideal, but on Amazon, I'll send you this.
Yeah, go for it.
It just I fully agree with you in terms of like because they do in different temperatures as well, which is great, and different luminosities. They are phenomenal lights, but you could get something like this. Now it's £33. It's a dual light sensor. It has a 550K range. It's flicker free, 160 LED lights. It's not going to give you the most accurate of color temperatures, like in the same way the Redgrass Games will. But if you keep it around 500, so it's 4,500 Kelvin, which is clean, uninterrupted light, fine. This is probably the best for a budget light you can get.
Fair.
But I would highly, highly advise people, as soon as you can plow a little bit of money into it, just close your eyes, bite the bullet, buy this. It's expensive. It's expensive as all hell. But it's worth it.
Yeah. Oh man, have you tried using photography lights for?
I got one above me. Yeah. So when I did my videos before, I had two of those next to me, illuminate, and I had like a hobby light for like a daylight company one, cost me like £100. So like I had the light around me. Just this, you can see. Hold on, let me bring it up. Otherwise, I'm going to mess up the. See more colors with this. It's more accurate, the color representation. It's fuller. So I only use this to record now. I don't need I don't need three lights around me. I just need the one. So it has unrivaled. So this has 3,700 lux. Dimmable. Oh, it's dimmable. I had no idea it was dimmable.
And this is a Monument Hobbies light, is it?
This is a Red Grass Games.
Red Grass Games. Did you say Monument Hobbies at some point?
No,
or is that just
Monument Hobbies is the Pro Acryl.
Somewhere? Oh, that's who they are. So we've got light, and it is anyone that's thinking, oh, like, why are you including that on a starter getting into it? For one, it'll stop your eyes from hurting and degrading over time. So, and as Miles is saying about the colour, seeing more clearly, especially for Miles, who's super into this, is
God, you need to see
important,
what you're painting.
Right? Yeah.
Otherwise, you paint it like under normal light. You take it outside, it looks like crap. You spend all that time, all that effort. I mean, again, it's that time versus money usage, right? You plan so much time into this. Instead of buying that extra box set, buy good lighting. You'll get far more value out of a good light than you will that extra box set that's going to sit at the back of your shelf, not doing anything.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Now, sundries is the next section you said.
Actually, brushes. We haven't addressed brushes yet.
Brushes, you get 3 of those in the game color set.
Oh, right. Okay. So, okay, at a stretch, if you did not want to buy another thing, fine, you could stick with those until they destroyed. But if you were interested in upping your game, I think there's only one real suggestion here. So we have a variety of different paint artist brush brands out there. We have Artis Opus. We have Winsor & Newton. Excellent range of paintbrushes. Pedigree, I mean, they were Queen Victoria's favorite brushes. Problem is, they're expensive. They are really expensive. You have other brush manufacturers like Raphael, 8404, Da Vinci, Chimera have their own range of Kolinsky sable hair brushes. Again, all excellent, all do a job. But my recommendation would be Rosemary & Co.
Yeah, and that is one that I was using Winsor & Newton because a lot of the time, the first one that you hear of after Games Workshop brushes is Winsor & Newton.
Yeah.
And then, actually, I asked your advice on it, and they've been very good. They've been solid as a brush set. I was using Broken Toad, but you can't get them anymore.
That's business, yeah, unfortunately.
I know, gutted. So,
such a good company. Yeah, they'd be my recommendation. Otherwise, Broken Toad, they were superb. But Rosemary & Co., especially if you live in Britain. Now, they do sell them abroad. They do sell them through Michigan Toy Company for North America. But Rosemary & Co., they do next day delivery. The prices are excellent. You need to look for 2 brushes. If you're going to buy any 2 brushes, it's the series. Let me get this right before I start recommending the wrong thing. The Series 33 Kolinsky Sable Pointed Rounds. And when you order, you do need to make sure that you have the short handle, not the long handle, the short handle, because there's a difference between 7 inches and 11 inches.
And if you get it wrong, snap off the handle rather
go
than
with the 0.
I've done that before. Yeah, so it's the sizes that you'd recommended to me was the 1, the 0, the 1, the 0, the 00, I think you recommended, and the 2. Oh no, it's the 3 over 0.
So I'd recommend 3, 2, 1, 0, 00. That's all you need for. I mean, you very rarely use the 3, but you're glad it's there when it is there. I'd also recommend buying some brush soap alongside these. What are you doing? Sorry, I got the thing playing in the background. Okay. So to buy these brushes, it costs £38 with the soap.
Right, so we've done the Googling, we've done the math behind the scenes.
Google food,
yeah, because we had the dead air, which we're trying to avoid. So 42 quid for those brushes Miles recommended, and they'll be, I imagine, Miles, will you put the numbers in the comments so that people can grab them?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and I do have a cheeky affiliate link through it as well. So for every sale, I get pennies. There you go, master businessman I am. And it is well worth buying the soap alongside them. It's not a superfluous buy like the paint shaker. Don't get that. Buy brush soap instead. After every session, soak them in the soap and make sure the soap stays within the bristles. It keeps them rejuvenated for longer, keeps them healthy. Keeps them
do you
strong,
not wash out the soap afterwards?
No. So to do it, you take your brush after a session, you really rinse it, you really lather it in the soap, like really get it in there, rinse it off, and then there should be some lather on the brush soap container. Just gently bring it to a point with the soap and keep the soap in the brush. That way, any acrylic particles you didn't get on the initial, the soap will bind onto it, and it will also keep the shape of the brush for longer.
Oh, you learn something new every day.
Yeah,
As I've been merely following the instructions on the brush soap.
Yeah, so it takes. So you'll get 2 years worth of usage out of these. Easy. I mean, mine lost a year, and they're very heavy usage, and I batter the hell out of my brushes. I would also, if we can get it within budget, grab some dry brush brushes. So if we aren't using a airbrush, a set of dry brushes. So this does go for £62.
Yeah. Whereabouts are the dry brush brushes?
So these are through Rosemary & Co. again. Just sending through a link now. And these are made from goat hair. Lovely, lovely goat hair. They do have smooshing brushes as well. They are slightly better for stippling, but they are slightly more expensive. But we have a full dry brush set here from small to large. You could do tanks, you can do infantry. You have the full gamut, the full swathe of miniatures here. You could do slap chop, so that's an excellent way to get into learning how to paint. Well, volumetric highlighting, dry brushing white over the top of a black base coat, using acrylic thinner with your paints, popping them over the top, boom, done.
The trouble is, for 52 quid, I think we're at that point may as well be buying a cheap airbrush. Do you know, like for the amount of money we're spending on this, because you can get a compressor for like 30 quid. It's not much more money then to get like, what's the airbrush that you've been using recently?
Oh, the Galeri is like $72, so like 60 quid.
Yeah, exactly. Quid. So for this big, so that is an option as well, not going straight for a full. So
a counter argument to that, with these brushes, you can also do stippling techniques. And you can also, do traditional dry brushing techniques as well.
Yes, but because we're then getting into realms of, say, you could get foam and do stippling and fucking stuff with foam, and that is very cheap and keeps us on that sort of all within realms, because there's many options in there. Within what you can do.
In that case, instead of getting the entire set, let's instead go for maybe a large and a small. So where are we? We have an extra small, 9 quid, extra large, 16, 25-ish, 27 quid.
Right, so let's have a quick tot up of what all this comes up to.
Yeah, let's see where we're at.
Right, so Miles has got his calculator ready. I'm going to reel off the numbers. We've got 110 for paint, and that's with the Pro Acryl and the Dark Star metals. No, that doesn't come with brushes. But
that doesn't come with brushes. Oh, good. I'm glad we bought brushes. Okay.
Yeah, so it's 110 for them 2 paint ranges. We've got, between glue and random stuff, 20 quid.
Okay.
That he's getting in there. Rosemary & Co. brushes, we've got 42 plus 25.
42 plus 25. Yep.
We've got 34 for a desk lamp
Okay.
and 25 for a Necromunda, Underworlds, or Blood Bowl team.
Okay. Is that it?
Yeah, that's what we're on up to now.
Oh, no.
We're not doing too badly, are we?
Hold on. Let's do it again. My calculator just went mental.
That's why I wasn't doing it.
It came up as £250, and that's not right.
Right, so we've got 110 for paint.
110. Yep.
20 up to now for like glues, etc.
Yep.
Brushes comes to 57.
Yep.
The light is 34. Underworld's, Blood Bowl, Necromunda 25.
It's £246.
We're not doing badly, and included in that, Miles, I wasn't telling you before in case it got tight. Included in that is a vortex shaker. So
no.
So we've actually like 246 quid.
Yeah, we've got a lot of room, so we could get an airbrush on. So we could just say, okay, basic airbrush setup on the top of it, boom.
Yeah. Boom.
And that, but we will need thinners and cleaners alongside that as well.
And we've got 25 quid on top of what we've got. Basing,
yeah,
like we've included PVA glue already, but Necromunda minis come with the already done bases that you just need to paint. And it's
we will need primer. How much is primer now? Like a tenner?
Yeah. Yes.
Halfords. Okay, get yourself down to Halfords.
If we go in cheapest of the cheap, it's 9 quid for a bottle of for a thing of primer from Halfords.
Okay, and so even if we went through Games Workshop, it would be 13 quid for it. So I mean, around the £10-ish mark.
How much is what are they called, the the real flat color black spray paint company
from Scale 75?
No. Oh, so you like scale, right? You like Scale 75. I'm talking rattle cans. Right, so we're back on, and I'll filibuster while Miles is Googling frantically, because we're talking spray paint. Yeah, the one that I was trying to remember was Colourforge. It is 12 quid rather than the 9 from Halfords.
Okay.
So...
Yeah, and they come with like a variety of different colours. So if you were painting Blood Angels, you can buy Sanguine Red. Or if you just wanted like a basic black, it's 12 quid.
Yeah.
They come with so many different colours, so it could save you a little bit of time. If you're painting orcs, for example, just spray them all green and build up from there.
Do you know what I definitely think, though? Just getting the matte black, if we're recommending starting points, black, and then you can dry brush the hell out of something with like greys.
Yeah.
Learn like glazing or washing or anything with the other stuff that we've recommended. And it would be the place to start. Rather, I actually really don't like starting with a colour as like on the model. I know maybe like for an underpainting style thing that you're doing, where if you use a can to do it simply, but
just if you just starting this hobby, you want to paint like a Blood Angel combat patrol force. I mean, hell, we could even afford that in here. If you wanted to start 40k in this, you could buy a combat patrol set. And you want them to get them done quickly on the table. You take red, spray them red. Okay, that's the armor done.
See, I think if we recommended a big paint set, though, we can't be recommending the fastest way possible to paint a thing.
Why not?
Because
it could be whatever you want it to be.
Well, this is our like maniacal guide to what you should definitely buy getting into it. But yeah, I think we've got some good options between the Halfords like super matte that you were saying.
Yeah, it's an unusual colours. Yeah, but the Halfords do like a variety of different colours as well, and they go on great.
Now, neither of us have recommended an airbrush primer because we could fit the airbrush in. I don't like them, which is why I've not brought it up.
You don't like using airbrush primers?
Yeah, what do you have that thought as well, or?
Yeah, I use them on everything. Airbrush primers, I love it. Yeah, because it gets into little nooks and crannies. If I use a spray can, sometimes you'll miss a bit, and it's just bare grey resin or metal, whatever. But with a primer, no, I find I get everything.
Oh, I really don't like just the additional work through an airbrush, if I prime and then leave the airbrush, the chance of it fucking up and causing me to have to clean that airbrush the next time I come to it is...
yeah, and you and airbrushes, a lethal combination.
I was waiting for this to come up at some point.
By the way, if Max ever asks, "Oh, can I borrow your airbrush?" Never lend him it to him. No, never. Had this brand new, goddamn gorgeous Mobius 3.0 Galeri premium Chinese precision airbrush. It's like, yeah, mate, you could. This is a Dragon Year edition, special edition Chinese airbrush. Yeah, mate, you could borrow it, no problem. Came back broken into a million pieces.
By which you mean this piece that hadn't ever been taken out, and I didn't even know existed in the airbrush. Like,
so
really?
This piece.
Yeah. How the hell did that come out?
So I have never, ever seen this piece come out before. So somehow this is twisted off, and inside here is a spring. And I've never seen this disassembled. So when it came back to me, like, this was loose, and like, Max, what happened? Like, I don't know, I just cleaned it. Like, no, I'm missing a piece. So he sent me through this, and I put it all together. Oh, this still, like, there's no spring to it. Like, there's something wrong here. Can you look for a spring? Because again, I have never seen this portion disassembled whatsoever.
Oh, I didn't take that apart. Like, that wasn't something that I took apart. I didn't, as I said, I didn't even know that was a thing that you could take apart.
I mean, when you clean it, there are certain portions of an airbrush you take apart, like this piece, get rid of. Yeah, this piece. Yep, this certainly comes out. Just this, you never, ever touch. That's why it was so confusing when it came back to me. I didn't know that there was a spring inside it.
Well, I didn't even know that's the bit that we were talking about for a while, because I was like,
yeah,
what fucking bit?
What, mate?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but moral of the story, don't lend Max anything.
Solid advice. But apparently I can't shy away from that one. But yeah, I think that is our guide, really, because we've started to drift, because I think I actually completed it, mate. Completed it. 247
for
quid.
250 quid, like, I thought we'd be way over budget.
Do you know what we've not got? Clippers.
Okay, why not go in the max at the best then, at the high end? So we can reorient this budget. Okay, so with the brushes, get the entire dry brush set. Why not? If you didn't want to get the airbrush initially, you have like a £250 excess. Okay, cool. Buy a few contrast paints. Buy what we got. Iron Jaws yellow, ultramarines blue, get a few magentas. They're roughly like £5-ish a pot, so 15 quid added to it.
Yeah, Wildwood is a great contrast that I always use all the time. The best clippers you can
get on the market are God Hand, and they are 50 quid.
Okay.
Boom. You could go for that, or you could go for a slightly more sane version of that, and you could go with something from Hobbycraft, which I believe is around £15. Just these basic yellow clippers that I've been using for years.
Yeah, I use them. The God Hand
Sorry,
ones.
Max, I can't hear you.
So you said the God Hammer, God Hand. So it's
widely regarded as the best, but they are £50. I've never used them because even though I can claim there's a business expense, I still don't feel they're value enough for money for me to buy them.
So it's 35 quid from the War Office. So
okay, there we go.
He's getting in there. We've got Tamiya, because Tamiya have a real nice saw that is hard to justify me buying another saw when I've already got 3. The thin blade craft saw for 16 quid.
Great. And I know you don't like them, but I would recommend the Tamiya file set as well, which is around 10, I want to say.
Ooh, I'll have to Google it. But yeah,
So as he's Googling that, I'm going to filibuster a little bit. So primers, I've just had a thought. If you did want to buy airbrush primers, I can recommend 2. Scale 75 for ultra matte black, really as matte as you could possibly get. But my catch-all primer that I love to use on my everyday usage is One Shot Primer by MIG. Now, if you want to do zenithal lighting, luckily enough, we've bought the Pro Acryl set, and it comes with titanium, bold titanium white. So we are sorted there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, the
files.
Tamiya was £9 and the one-shot
There we go.
primer £5.50.
There we go. Perfect.
But obviously requires an airbrush to be bought, so we're around £500 now. So I think that is the list.
Last few things I want to put out there because you said 500-ish. Wet palette. If you are on a budget and you don't want to spring for a Redgrass Games wet palette, the best on the market, get yourself a pack of Ferrero Rocher, a couple of yellow soaking pads, and some greaseproof paper, and that is a good tide over until you get the Redgrass Games one, which comes in around £50 for the large set. And I would always recommend the large set that you can buy with it.
For that, would you recommend airbrush first or wet palette first?
Wet palette.
Right. So actually, what I think we'd say then is take out the airbrush. So if we're recommending that first, you don't go airbrush.
On initial setup, yes. Yeah, I'd take out the airbrush. But if you were determined to get into airbrushing, okay, you could substitute all these other things for that. So it's a nice, I guess, modular system. And £250 is a lot to play with.
Right. I think that wraps it up, really.
Additives. One last thing. Additives.
One thing, because we are stretch. I think this is becoming confused. Go on.
Airbrush. So you could buy acrylic thinner, flow improver, and glaze medium. Don't bother getting them like a branded one. Go to your local hobby store and you get huge chunky ones. Have I got any around me? No, I don't at the moment. But you get these huge chunky bottles, these vials from Winsor & Newton, Dale Arowney. You get so much more value for money. Then when you learn to mix them up, you could create your own mixtures and thinners. And learning how to thin your paint, essential tool, both through the airbrush and the brush. Done. That is it. Last thing. That is it.
Right. And what I'll do...
Tweezers! You need tweezers.
No! Less things! But yeah, it's all of that stuff because we've sort of dragged this out a little bit. Miles, leave it in the comments so everyone can see where we're getting this stuff from. Mm-hmm. Have you got a preferred shop for like the stuff? I suppose I brought War Office a few times, so I'll send you a War Office link.
Yeah, War Office is good. PK Pro is good. It's a German distributor. They do a lot of, they seem to have like everything in stock. But really, it's wherever I can find it's the cheapest. So Firestorm Games, I like shopping because it's my local FLGS. It's not the most inexpensive, but delivery is good. They're reliable. Amazon, I do a lot of my shopping on Amazon purely for convenience. Rosemary & Co, getting it through the website because they do next day delivery. But really, I just Google it and wherever I can find the cheapest.
We modern consumers,
exactly, yeah.
But we'll leave the list below with the two options.
Everything,
airbrush,
everything will be in the list below.
Option.
And
that wraps up the episode.
Airbrush wet palette. Yeah, airbrush wet palette option. That's an excellent way to frame it. Okay, good.
Quality.
That's it.
Right. Thank you for sticking it out to the end.
Bye.
Bye.
What are your selections? What would you do? Like, comment, and subscribe. Do all that YouTube stuff. Send it to your nan. Yeah. Okay.
Right. See you.